Hello and welcome back to the DUSwimDive podcast. Today we are featuring Miss Camilla Di Santo of the women's swimming team. She is one of the seniors this year. She is an architecture and art history major, originally from Colonial Heights, Virginia, and coming into Drury as a freshman. She was a distance and butterfly swimmer, but now she mainly focuses on butterfly. So Cami, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Andrew. How are you?
I am in pain. I am tired. My legs are so dead. I've done so much kicking this week, but I think that's going to speak some really good volumes as we get ready for nationals. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. So, we've been watching the lineup for nationals pretty intensely, but I mean, either way, you should be really proud of how you did at conference. Because what did you go at conference again in your two fly?
A 2:03.7, I believe.
Yeah, and that's the best time by like how much?
A little over a second, like a second and a half, I think. And it's been about 4 years since I went the other best time before that. So
Nice.
it was a good swim.
Yeah. Like, did you change anything for that? Because like going to my two fly, I actually had to kind of completely reset my mentality going into that because I also had a pretty decent two fly. So I'm curious, like, did you do anything to change anything for your two fly?
Oh yeah, definitely. Pretty much up until this year, I had a tendency to not kick off of any of my walls, which was kind of ironic because my arms are pretty useless, honestly, when it comes to swimming. And my legs are probably the best part of my races. And I actually kicked 6 kicks off every wall, which was a pretty big accomplishment for me, considering I probably did about 2 when I went the other time. So
Cam, you're one of the better kickers on the team, and you were not kicking off the
yeah,
walls.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that does a lot. Well, and like especially on the two fly, it's like it's a lot about maintaining. Yeah, like you said, you did 6 kicks off of every wall. It's a lot about maintaining those underwaters, like through the whole two fly.
Yeah.
That's
And
kind
then
of
Reynolds and I have really been focusing on like my catch in the water, which has also improved a lot this year. I don't think I was really pulling much water at all before conference. So
so no kick, weak arms, and no catch in the water.
yeah, I honestly don't know how I went that time. So
Well, obviously some of the work really helped. So, you came in as a distance swimmer. That means you started with Doug then, huh?
yeah, my events freshman year were the mile and the 1,000 and the two fly and the 4 a.m. But I'm
Oh
pretty
my
much,
God.
yeah, it sucked. I trained with Doug every day, but 2 days a week. I went over to swim some butterfly with Reynolds. But yeah, mostly just swam freestyle all day, every day.
Nice. Do you ever like miss distance at all?
Not at all.
No.
No. I was sad when they originally took me out of the distance group just because the unit's kind of like a little family, but at the same time the fact that I will never have to swim a mile again is sort of a big weight off of my shoulders.
So what exactly is D unit and how did that start?
So that actually started after I left distance group. I don't really know, it kind of, I don't really know where it came from. We have t-shirts for it, so like that's fun. But yeah, just it's kind of like its own little world over there, like sort of, the mutual pain of swimming 8,000 yards every practice, I guess just really bonds people.
Yeah. And thus has formed the D unit. So that's
Yeah.
like the distance name,
Yeah.
the D unit. Gotcha. So then looking back, I'm curious, how was your first year here, like transitioning as a freshman, getting into here? Because like for me, it was pretty rough.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you're gonna make me think all the way back. Um, I don't know. It wasn't exactly hard. It was more exciting, I guess. Kind of coming into a new environment. The way club swimming is in Virginia, I think it kind of prepared me for the intensity of college swimming. If not over prepared me because I think I swam more hours a week in high school than I did here at Drury. But it was definitely interesting, sort of trying to figure out like like the social aspect too, and just sort of like learning to live on my own 1,000 miles away from home. And then starting classes for something that's going to be my career. And then of course you have swimming on top of all of this. But I guess when I think back on it, it was more exciting, I think, than terrifying, which I guess was good.
Yeah, that's good. And like going in as a freshman that has to do all of those pretty hard events, like the mile, the 1,000, the 4 IM, and the nice cherry on top, the 2 fly. How was that for meets, getting ready for meets and just doing that, just having to throw down in all those events?
I mean, honestly, it was nothing I wasn't used to. Like those were the things I obviously swam in high school. The training was a little weird because like I'd have to taper for the mile for our big meets, you know. But then I'd still have to swim a 2 fly, which is obviously more of a sprinter event, I guess, compared to the mile. So it was definitely kind of hard to find like a balance between such a broad, I guess, program of events. But yeah.
Well, and eventually they kind of narrowed you down more to the fly, and
Yeah,
you found a stronger presence there.
yeah, I think I had a lot more potential in my 2 fly than I did in my other events. So I think that was obviously why they made the decision to sort of pull me at a distance and focus more
No
on that.
breaststroke.
I am never swimming breaststroke again. I'm done with that conference. That was my last hurrah. No more breaststroke.
No more breaststroke. Oh no, I was having so much fun watching your breaststroke.
Yeah, I got compliments like congratulations. I've never seen someone swim breaststroke for that long. And I've been asked if I still have nightmares about that race. So never again.
Gotcha. Fair enough. So then, you know, like I remember being a freshman, and kind of going into the later part of the year as well, coming out of the training trip, that's kind of a different vibe than going in. Because I know, like I said, going in was a little bit rough for me because I'm from a completely different place. But then coming out of the training trip, it's like a whole different like set of capabilities and a whole different sort of vibe. Like how was that coming off of the intense training that we got in Hawaii?
Um, well, I was slightly broken after that. It was just a lot of swimming. And like I said, I think what I did in high school sort of prepared me for that. But I don't know, you kind of like you just feel so much stronger like after you've done all that. And it's just sort of like it's like a mental sort of benefit after doing that because you know, like I just survived 2 weeks of training 5 hours a day every day in a totally different place. You know, you're kind of just like go, go, go. And you're like, if I can survive that, like I can survive 1,000 or I can survive a 200 fly.
Yeah, well, and the best thing is like obviously we all do it together, but you know, there are some teams that train, but they don't really train together. Like they
Yeah.
don't feel like they're actually together. When we're in Hawaii, a big part of it is, hey, we're all in this together, so let's go.
Yeah, no, it's like really a sense of family. And I think that's where like I've really done like a lot of bonding with the team over the course of my 4 years is on that training trip. And honestly, even with the coaches, like I got to know, like you get to know Reynolds in his element, you know, like Hawaii is his happy place. And you get to see like a whole nother side of him there that's super fun.
Yeah, no, 100%. He pulls out a lot of stops in Hawaii. And yeah, you get some really serious training, and you know it feels really good going into conference then because you feel really prepared. And well, and we always have those meets after that are like off the plane, like when
Oh
we
my
get
God.
off the plane and we have to like throw down against
Yeah.
like
And you're
like
like,
Arkansas and the one team that I'm blanking on that meet that was
oh my gosh, yes. Oklahoma Christian. Yeah. And we were all just like
yeah.
wrecked after like 15
Yeah.
hours of traveling. And
Yeah. Well, it's crazy that some people pop off there too. Like they get off
yeah,
the plane and then they get a nationals invite time.
I know.
It's like, man, they really picked something up in Hawaii. So Yeah, no, that's good stuff then. So what do you think was your favorite year then as far as swimming goes? And personal life on the team as well.
Um, I think I definitely have to go with this year. Um,
Really?
yeah, I think like I've had a lot of positives, I think, despite all of the COVID restrictions, which have kind of sucked. But I'm obviously just super thankful that I've even had a senior year and a senior season. But I think that the first 3 years were just a lot of me like trying to figure it out. And I think this year I finally figured it out, like personally and swimming wise. So yeah, I think this has definitely been my best year so far.
Nice. Yeah, well, and I agree with that, but I was not expecting you to say that because yeah, for anyone who might be listening to this in the future, this is the year where we had COVID and well, last year technically, and then going into this year, we still have to deal with COVID restrictions. And our conference meet had thankfully it happened. And
Yeah.
it had a bunch of COVID restrictions there. Even with that though, a lot of people on the team did really good at this conference.
Yeah.
So that was good stuff. So then looking back at I keep saying looking back. I gotta stop that. So I'm curious, you've mentioned that you were a distance swimmer, obviously, so you trained with Doug, but you also eventually re-specialized to fly, which means that you've gotten plenty of attention from both Doug and Reynolds. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on how they approach different things. And we can start with Doug as a distance coach. How was he when you were his distance swimmer?
Yeah. So, I came in with a lot of like, I guess, little stroke things that were like not technically correct. Like my freestyle was a little bit of a mess. And he was super helpful, in like trying to remind me to fix those things. Really like detail oriented on that and, just like super motivational. Like obviously like distance practices can be really grueling and like he was just always there like reminding us like hey it hurts now but like it's going to be worth it later and just sort of like reminding us to just like keep doing our best. Just kind of small stuff he did was
Yeah.
really like helpful.
Yeah. And does he focus a lot then on some of the really little intricacies of like the like freestyle pull and kick and just stroke structure in general?
Yeah, it's everyone has like very different distances, sort of odd. Everyone has very different swimming styles. Like different things work for different people. So he would kind of, like focus on like whatever worked for that like individual.
Gotcha. Nice. So very, very individual
Yeah,
focus.
and distance is such a small group too. It's easy for him to, like really get to know the swimming of each person in that group.
Yeah. 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 No, I mean, obviously I haven't swam with him as much, but I definitely get the vibe that he's very supportive of a lot of his swimmers.
Hmm.
Um, you know, just so long as they're doing the best that they can, he'll always give them the best that he can. And I've always
Yeah.
really appreciated that about Doug. So then going over to Reynolds, how does he approach? Because he's mainly focused on stroke stuff. How does he approach stroke training in your eyes?
Oh goodness. Reynolds. So he will definitely make you do a lot of whatever stroke you swim. In my case, butterfly, which isn't always the best. No, but I think I've obviously grown a lot under him, um, with the time drops I've had. He's also very detail oriented. As I said earlier, he's been helping me fix my catch all year, and reminding me about the kicks. And I like ever since I've moved to his group, like I can see the improvement. And just looking back on like the swimmer I was 3 years ago, if I like were to watch myself swim, I could guarantee it would look totally different after training with Reynolds for 3 years. And he definitely pushes you with his practices, things that I never thought I could do, like fly-a-rama, which for those who don't know, it's 5,000 yards of straight butterfly.
Yeah.
Things just mentally, he makes you a mentally tougher swimmer. He like gut checks is what he used to call them.
Yeah. Yeah, he used that term this past week when he was talking about the 4850s set that we did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was just like, hey, the last 4 on 40 are a gut check for you. Let's go.
I didn't have the guts in that one.
Yeah, gosh, that's a fun set though. I love that set so much because I always feel like I get something really good out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like one of the things that a lot of swimmers that I've talked to, at least throughout my career growing up, and even some here that I've gotten to know, like sometimes they'll have a not great race and then they'll just be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what's going on. And then I say, hey, did you talk to Reynolds, or did you talk to Doug or Zach? But we'll just say Reynolds for now. Like, hey, did you talk to Reynolds? And they'll be like, well, no, I didn't. And I was like, what? Why? You're really setting yourself back there, because I guarantee you he'll tell you something really important that you did not notice at all.
Yeah. He's always, this is going to sound bad, but I don't mean this in a bad way, but he's always good at pointing out, I guess, like things you need to improve on, like in your races. And he really does know a lot. He has a lot of experience.
Yeah. And everything he says is to help you. Like it's always important. None of it's wasted. It's always important. And it's always pretty true.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so swimming this year on the team, we've had COVID restrictions and COVID policies, all the fun little COVID things. So how has that changed practices for you personally?
So definitely the groups have been, well, they seem smaller with the way that we have to organize the lanes to sort of keep the social distancing aspect. I think it's kind of helped me in a way, because not only does it make it easier for the coaches to sort of focus on the individual people when you only have like 4 people to a lane and you're split between the ends, versus when you have 6 people all piled up on one wall. I think it's made it a little bit easier to sort of just focus on my swimming and the little things. It hasn't really changed much in the social aspects. Like it doesn't feel that different. I still enjoy going to practice. It's still awesome to see everyone every day. And like I said, I'm just super thankful that we can even go to practice, because I know some other teams this year haven't been as lucky.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate this year. So then what are your plans once you quit swimming? Because you have another year here at Drury, I believe, right?
Yeah. So for architecture, it's a 5-year master's program. So I've definitely considered trying to do the 5th year. I really want to. It's just not feasible with my major and master's thesis. And for my art history, I'll be doing my bachelor capstone, and it'll be, I think, too much for me to really be like successful in the way I want to be in swimming. So yeah, I'll continue my degree here, and then hopefully after I graduate, go off and get an internship somewhere. I'll definitely be hanging around next year, though. You can't get rid of me that easily. I'll be around pool deck, and I'll be at all your meets and everything. So
nice. Yay, more support. Wonderful. All righty. Well, Cami, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk.
Yeah, no problem. This was fun.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you much. Thank you for listening to the DUSwimDive podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe.